Ooh, welcome, sippers and shooters, lovers of liquor of all types, especially brown. Nate and Morgan back at it. Weekly whiskey welcome.
And
midweek, whatever.
It's Game of Thrones has restarted.
Winter has come. And since we can't find anywhere colder than, well, we're in the freezer. We're in the walk-in freezer.
It's cold as F.
Yeah.
Because we're in here for science.
But I've got my Game of Thrones cloak. I feel good for now. Some of you may know this. Game of Thrones partnered with a bunch of different distilleries and made limited release bottles. 9 of them?
9 of them.
Tell us about it.
All right, so we are going to try to do a different one each week after the episodes air. We're going to start off with 2 of them this time around, and we're going to work our way geographically in Westeros from the north to the south. Starting off, of course, with White Walker, made by Diageo. Owns all these distilleries. They also are the producers of Johnnie Walker. So they got a lovely little White Walker here, and words show up when you freeze it. It says winter is here, and freaking A, if this freezer is any indication, it's definitely here. Most whiskeys are definitely not meant to be drunk this cold, but they claim they blended this, here, I'll do you first, to be served frozen, and you can see how thick it's coming out of the bottle. Usually you don't want to do things cold because the density changes and you don't get all the fun scents and aromas coming out of it because it all just sits in the glass. So we are going to do this cold and then cut to move into warmer climates, because to heck with this crap, it's freezing in here.
Morgan also poured some warm so we can see how it compares. Off top, getting a little vanilla, a little oak, but not much to be had.
Yeah, bourbons can generally handle being served a lot colder because there's a lot more volatile stuff going on in here, but I'm getting a lot of vanilla, like he says, some banana, sweet honey, but it is really cold in here, and you can tell how much thicker it is because of it. So here we go.
Yeah.
It's really grainy. I think they used a lot of grain whiskeys in this just because it's cheaper to produce and to get that out and cut it with. But
now, did I read that they sourced from Clonelish and Cardew?
Clonelish, Cardew, Dalwhinnie, all these ones make up the different Johnnie Walker blends, so who knows exactly what could be in this, but
the vanilla is still there, the oak is there, slightly peppery on the after.
Definitely peppery, probably from the grain on that, the grain whiskey.
Yeah.
Get a little bit of the biscuity maltus, but it's a little bit of honey, and I'm cold, man.
I'm fucking freezing.
All right.
We're gonna White Walk our way out of here.
Yeah, we'll see you inside in a minute.
Salute.
Salute.
Woo. And we're back. We made it from the north, back in the warm. South. So Morgan poured us a little bit of the non-chilled White Walker. We'll give it a quick comparison, and we'll move on to the Oban.
Oban, yeah.
Is that how you say it?
Oban, B-I-N, yeah. But it's A-N. So right off the bat, I mean, you can already tell that, like, the scent's a lot more volatile. And I can understand why Johnnie Walker wants the White Walker served cold, because I am getting a little bit of a rubbing alcohol smell off of it, which would easily be knocked down by a serving cold.
It seems a little rawer out here in the world. More vanilla, a little more of that.
I will say the taste is far better. Personally, I believe. Definitely that rubbery smell does not translate into the flavor. They're definitely getting still the more grain whiskey, a little bit of that biscuity honey, but malt. But it's a pretty mild, mass-produced whiskey. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just fun. You know, Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
You love it or you haven't seen it yet.
And you love telling people that you don't watch it.
Yes.
And some of these distilleries, we'll probably talk about this as we go, but the choices of how they chose the distilleries are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Based on the houses that they represent.
Yeah, each whiskey is is named for a different house. In most cases, they are chosen geographically as to where they are in Scotland. In comparison to, you know, where they equate to Westeros in the world of Game of Thrones. And some of them are done because of fun backstory, which we'll get to when we get to Cardew for the Targaryen one. But right now, like I said, we're working on our way north of Westeros to south. We have the Oban. This one is for the Night's Watch. It's pretty awesome. Black bottle, black text. Really hard to take photos of. I'm going to work on that one.
It's beautiful. As far as packaging goes, this is the worst.
Yeah.
And it only gets better from here.
Pretty much. I love the Night's Watch one.
And this is, I mean,
it's fun.
This is kind of the odd man out, right?
Yeah.
Like, not a house.
Correct.
Kind of a not goofy packaging, but
yeah,
you know, they put the blue eyes on Johnny, and you know they're
makes him look like the Night
going for
King.
it. Yeah.
When they were releasing all these, the White Walker wasn't considered part of the house releases. It's just also included. We're also including it because it fits the theme.
Yeah.
So the Oban Distillery, the reason why it was chosen for the Night's Watch, is based at the bottom of a very steep cliff overlooking a bay in Scotland. So hence like the wall. I enjoy Oban's regular releases. They're one of the few distilleries that we're going to be showing with the Game of Thrones that has multiple regular releases of their own. A lot of these distilleries are very small, and 90% of what they produce is for Johnnie Walker, and maybe they'll do 1 or 2 bottles a year or of their own normal releases. So Oban, and like we'll also see Lagavulin, which it does House Lannister, will also be cropping up as distilleries that are well known on their own.
It's a beautiful nose.
Yeah, very, very apple. Actually had an initial reminding me of like a Nigori sake, you know, that kind of fruity,
sweet.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really nice.
Yeah. Definitely got some baking spices, some cinnamon in there. Got some solid maltiness. Got the honey, of course. It's got a good mouthfeel too. It's pretty. Now, most of these are only hovering around 40-43%. When we get to the Tyrell one, which is done by Klein Leash, it's the only one they released at a high proof. It's 50 something, 56 I believe. So
it's a long finish on that.
Yeah.
You get a nice coating in there. Tingles for a minute.
I wish we had some of like the distillery's regular releases to kind of compare and contrast, but it was hard enough to get a hold of all of the Game of Thrones. Hard on all of our wallets, let's be honest, so didn't want to.
What is that? Is it from the wood tannins or something that makes your, like, I feel like my mouth is kind of puckering like a wine tannin, like up on the roof and in the front of my tongue. Is that?
It's possible. I mean, everyone kind of
tannins?
tastes a little differently. I'm expecting most of these not to be very old whiskeys, you know. Oban regularly releases a 14-year-old, so I doubt they're giving up their stocks for a Game of Thrones release, but it could be something that is that old but just didn't fit the flavor profile of their blends or what have you.
Oh.
But I am getting a little bit of that woodiness you're talking about.
Maybe I'm just slightly allergic to something in there. My throat's kind of swelling up. I can't breathe very well.
Oh, great. EpiPen. Anybody have an EpiPen?
That's really nice. That's tasty.
Yeah. So expect to have a video each week. We'll do another Game of Thrones after the episode. We promise no spoilers. Although, I'm sorry to say Danny's dead now. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Maybe we'll park someone in the corner like Brand there
Yeah.
judgmentally. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Liquor on the Rock, at Liquor on the Rock on Instagram.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Something Game of Thrones.
Good luck in the Game of Thrones.